Hello there, everyone in Rumble XN YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And we're going to talk some more today about It Ends With Us. It Ends With Us. This terrible movie. I know a lot of you women liked it. It made a lot of money. I mean, $350 million on a $25 million budget. Yeah, so yeah, they made money. They definitely made money. Unfortunately, this looks like it's going to be the last product of Justin Baldoni, who is the screenwriter, the producer, the director, and one of the stars of this movie. Okay, now I've already spoken about this scandal at length. Okay, look at my earlier videos. All right. The reason there's so many videos in this series is because I had to talk about the scandal, give you all the details on that, and then I jumped into the movie and give you all the details on that. I'm on the movie now, okay? I've been on the movie for a few videos now, okay? If anything turns up that's important regarding the scandal, I'll mention it here briefly, but I want to get through the movie, okay? Because there's a lot about this movie that I don't like, that makes no sense from a filmmaking point of view, and even just from like a verisimilitude point of view. Okay, it's not very realistic. Okay, now I'm not saying that domestic violence doesn't happen. Of course it happens. I've mentioned that in these videos as well about my own incidents with that. Okay, my own anecdotes about that. Okay, my sister just went through that last year. Okay, so I know that it happens. All right, and I'm not, and I do not approve of it at all. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Okay, but what I'm saying is there's other things that happen too, and they don't make movies about that. Okay, and they need to. They need to start moving. I think this whole thing about, I remember being a little boy in the 80s and watching a movie on TV. It was a made-for-TV movie. That used to be a thing. Okay, and it starred Farrah Fawcett, and it was called The Burning Bed. Okay, I look it up. Okay, it's on Amazon now. Okay, it's called The Burning Bed, and that movie was all about domestic violence. I mean, it was based on a true story. This woman named Francine Hughes, yes, she was, trailer park trash, that kind of whatever, okay? She meets this guy, and they fall in love, they have kids, but he beats her up. She leaves him, she takes him back, she forgives him, then he beats her up again, all this goes straight. So anyway, it gets down to the point where he beats her up so bad one day that while he's asleep, she pours gasoline on him and sets him on fire. Okay, this really happened. Okay, so obviously she was arrested, charged with murder, but she got off. She was found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. Okay, so this really happened. Okay, and I saw this when I was a little boy. Okay, it was on TV, big buzz. It was a big departure from Farrah Fawcett. Farrah Fawcett Farrah Fawcett at that time was known as playing Jill on freaking Charlie's Angels. Okay, and she was married to the $6 million man. Okay, what's his name? Lee Majors. Okay, and then she cheated on him with his best friend, Ryan O'Neal. Okay, and then Ryan O'Neal beat her up in real life. He used to kick her ass too. Okay, and they were on and again, off again, whatever. They even did like a sitcom together, whatever. But then she died. Tragically, she passed away in, I think it was 2010 or 2011, something like that. It might have been 2010. She died the same day that Michael Jackson died. Okay, so everyone remembers Michael Jackson dying. No one remembers that Farrah Fawcett died on the same day. And I think she had like colon cancer or something. Whereas Michael's doctor prescribed him with an overdose of drugs, and that's what killed him. Okay, but yeah, we lost two legends on the same day. How sad is that? But anyway, the reason I bring this up is because I'm trying to tell you all here that, I've been around, for a while. And this whole thing about beating up women, it's been around for a long time, okay? Okay, there is no sort of a culture that encourages men beating up their wives or their girlfriends. It doesn't exist. Okay, the media does not push that narrative. There is no. I mean, it's been the not beating up of your wife and girlfriend has been a major theme in media for a long time, for decades. Like I said, since I was a little kid. Okay, now you didn't really see that like in the 60s or the 50s or stuff. Okay, but definitely in the 80s, in the late 70s and the 80s. Okay, there was a lot of attention drawn towards domestic violence. Okay, it's frowned upon. Okay, I guarantee you, there's no major media out there that promotes domestic violence. There's no one that does that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that as far you're never going to be able to change anybody, no matter how much people talk about how terrible it is to beat up women. You're never going to stop it completely. Okay, the only thing you can do is minimize it. You can make it so that only a small minority of people actually do that, actually beat their girls and their girlfriends and their wives. Okay, a very small percentage of men do that. Okay, because it is frowned upon by society. Okay, there's strict penalties for men that beat the crap out of women. Okay, so our culture does not encourage it at all, at all. So what I'm trying to say is this movie's not needed. Okay, that much. Because it's not a serious social issue the way it was like in the early 80s. The reason The Burning Bed got so much attention is because there weren't very many movies that dealt with that topic. I'm pretty sure a lot of women's lives were saved because they saw that movie and they decided to leave their husbands because of what happened. I'm sure that happened back then, okay? But the early 80s was a different time, okay? We're well beyond that now, okay? Women don't hide that shit anymore. They don't make excuses for it, okay? Nowadays, okay, if a guy hits a woman, she leaves him like that, just like that. Okay, she didn't, accept his apology and stay with him, or all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really happen that much anymore. Okay, even with my own sister, she had enough. She had enough of this guy, of my brother-in-law, and she divorced his ass. She left him. Okay, that kind of thing. So I know that this stuff happens. Me personally, I've never hit a woman in my life. Okay, but it's because I was raised that way. I was raised to not hit women. Okay, and I don't approve of it at all. So I do not approve of the character in this movie, Raul Kincaid. I do not approve of him beating up his wife. But does that mean that his wife is automatically a nice woman? Okay, no, she's not. She's an insufferable cunt. And I'm going to say that proudly. She's an insufferable cunt. Her character is not sympathetic at all. Maybe to you she is. Okay, but I'm trying to look at it from her point of view and from his point of view. Okay, this woman's a liar. She's a manipulator. She thinks she's all that. Okay, the only time she acts vulnerable is when she's trying to get something from somebody. I mean, this is ridiculous. She had no interest in this guy at all. He basically kept pounding away at her, metaphorically and physically. Okay, to get her to go out with him, to get her to kiss him. Okay, to get her to marry him, to get her, he did everything. She's done nothing. She's been very receptive to everything. She's been very reactionary to everything. He initiates something, she reacts to it. Okay, that's their entire relationship. She never ever takes the initiative, okay, for the relationship. She never does anything for him. Okay, she never goes out of her way to show him how special she is, or how grateful she is to have him in her life. She never does anything like that. Yet he's constantly love bombing her. He's constantly telling her how great she is, how wonderful she is, how much he needs her, how much he loves her, how she's so different from other girls. I mean, all the time, to the point where it's just getting fucking nauseating listening to that over and over again. Okay. It's like, come on, if there's nothing wrong with being in love with somebody, okay, but if you're gonna be in love with somebody, you kind of got to make sure that she's in love with you too. Okay, and we're definitely not seeing that here. Now, I can understand if this was a man who had very little experience with women, maybe he's very shy and insecure. Okay, he's a beta male or something, or he doesn't attract very much women, so he has very little experience. If this was the case, then I could understand him acting that way, because I've seen that myself. I know guys that are so desperate for female attention that as soon as they get any girl to give them sex, they will love bomb them. They will start planning the wedding. They will start, and to her, he was basically, the guy she wanted left with another girl. So she just said, okay, fuck it. I'm going to fuck this guy. Okay. That's all she thought of him. Okay. But he's all in love now and writing her poetry and shit. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like if it was someone like that, I could understand Raul acting the way he does, because he acts like a very low value beta male, insecure, jealous guy. But he's not playing that guy. His character is written as an alpha male. His character is written as a successful, wealthy, attractive, charming, cute, handsome, intelligent, successful guy. Okay? And so he's a high value guy. Okay, and high value guys don't act like this. Okay, he's supposed to be a player. He's supposed to be a guy that goes. The movie says that he goes through women like candy. Okay, well, he can't even go through this woman. Okay, you're not convincing me of that. This guy's acting like a guy who's fucking who's probably had 1 or 2 sexual experiences in his life, and that's it. And he's like 30 years old. That's what he's acting like. Okay, he's acting like me when I was a fucking teenager. Okay. I kissed a girl when I was, oh my God, and I'm in love with her for 48 hours, and all of a sudden I find out she's kissing another guy. Why? Why'd you do that to me? How much I love you. It's because I've been loving you enough. That's what it is. Because I've been loving you. I love you. You see what I mean? See what I mean? See how ridiculous that is? Okay. Well, that's what we got in this movie. Okay. Ryle's reaction to finding out that his wife is still in love with the guy that popped her cherry some 20 something years ago, okay, that she's still in love with him, instead of that hurting his feelings and making him just like want to get the hell away from her, okay, and get the marriage annulled and kick her out of the penthouse they live in, and okay, this was a big mistake, okay. Well, he's made a lot of mistakes, okay. Like nothing he did is realistic, okay, from a man's point of view. Nothing he did, okay. Not a guy like this. A weaker man, yes, it's realistic, but he's not playing a weaker man. He's supposed to play a high value man, okay. So any normal person would get disgusted by this. They would be upset. They'd be angry, okay. And if they're smart, they would leave. They would leave her. If they had any sort of self-respect, they wouldn't waste any more of their time trying to love a woman that does not love them back. Okay? That's what they would do. Yes, it would suck. I've been in this situation before. I know what it's like. Okay? I've had women leave me, for another guy only to fucking have them crawl back to me a few months later. I've also been that other guy. Okay? I've also been that other guy as well. Okay? So I know what I'm talking about here. Okay? And this is not the way men react. Okay, not any man with self-respect. Now, you can find a weak man, absolutely he'll react this way, okay? But even a weak man would just sit and cry about it, okay? Ryle doesn't do either one of those things. He doesn't leave her alone. He doesn't kick her out of the house and file divorce proceedings. He doesn't fucking cry about it, okay? Oh, why could you do this to me? He doesn't do any of that stuff. What does he do? He tries to rape her, okay? He gets physical with her. He holds her down, okay? While she's telling him to get off of me, leave me alone, get off of me, don't do this, okay? Yeah, he won't listen to her. He says, I just need to love you more. But I love you, and I love you, I love you. Okay, and what does he do? He bites her. Okay, he bites her on the collarbone, okay, where she had a tattoo of a heart that she had put on there for Atlas, okay, when she was a teenager. Okay, that heart shape, that's a wooden heart shape that Atlas made for her out of a tree, okay? And so now she has it tattooed on her collarbone, okay? It comes and goes. There's scenes when it's not there, then there's scenes when it's there, there's no consistency. But anyway, he bit her there because now he realizes that the tattoo there is a tattoo in reference to Atlas, okay? The guy that she's been conducting an emotional affair with, okay, while he's been with her. Okay, while Ryle's been her boyfriend and then later her husband, she's been having an emotional affair. She's been seeing him without him knowing about it. Okay, she's been keeping secrets from her husband about this guy. Okay, and now it's all getting revealed. So of course I understand him getting mad at her, but when you get mad at someone, you don't try to rape her. Okay, you don't do that. That makes no sense at all. If anything, he would be hurt. He'd be angry. He would tell her to get the fuck away from him. Okay, don't ever fucking touch me again. That kind of a thing. Go to if you fucking love him so much, go fucking be with him. Get your shit out of my fucking apartment right now. That's what a guy would do. A guy with any sort of balls would do that. Okay, that's not what's happening here. Instead, he tries to rape her, hence making him the bad guy. Okay, while he's trying to do that, okay, she has all these flashbacks and she realizes, because she didn't realize it earlier in the movie, that all the times that he hit her, okay, which the movie played off as an accident, he burned his hand, he went like that, he accidentally hit her in the face, hit her in the eye, okay, he also, he was walking away from her, okay, because he found out that she had his phone number, Atlas's phone number hidden in her phone, okay, so he walked away from her after smashing her phone and she chased after him on the stairway. Okay, and it looked like she jumped in front of him and tripped. But now we find out that's not what happened. What happened was he fucking showgirled her. Like that movie Showgirls. Like that, okay? Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so now that we know all that stuff, now she realized, she just, at this moment, when her husband is trying to rape her and biting the hell out of her neck, that's when she realizes that all the physical incidents that happened earlier in the movie were on purpose, okay? He lost his temper and he hurt her on purpose. Okay, so now we realize that Ryle is actually the bad guy. Okay, there was no accident here. Okay, he really did do it. He tried to hurt her and he succeeded. And then he tried to cover it up and make her and convince her that it was an accident. Okay, when it really wasn't. Okay, well, you have to do that. All right. Because you got to make a Ryle the bad guy in this movie, okay? Despite the fact that she lies and cheats on him, he's got to be the bad guy. Okay, so anyway, what do you call it? So what does she do? She runs over to go see Atlas, of course. at his restaurant Root. She interrupts his gay porn session. She tells him, hey, listen, you were right. You know, he was hitting me. I know you warned me. You told me to leave him, and I didn't listen to you. I told you it was an accident. The black guy was an accident. I told you all that, but now I realize that you were right. I am turning into my mom. That kind of a thing, okay? Because her mom got her ass kicked by her dad. That's why she hates her dad so much. That and her dad beat the crap out of Atlas, okay? When he caught her getting cream pied when she's 15 years old, okay? She's getting her insides scrambled by an 18-year-old punk. He beat the shit out of him, okay? And put him in the hospital, okay? So she won't forgive her father for that. Okay, and she won't forgive her mom for letting her dad beat her up either. Okay, so that's why she hated her dad, and that even despite the fact her dad was the mayor of the town that she grew up in, Plethora, Maine, she refused to speak at his funeral. She refused to do the eulogy. Okay, because she hated her father that much. Okay, yeah, and that's a good thing. Okay, anyway. So, and that's what she bonded with Atlas with when they were teenagers, because Atlas's mom's boyfriend was beating her up. He tried to stop him, and he got his ass kicked too. He got a scar in his hand trying to stop mom's boyfriend from beating her up. So he ran away from home, tried to kill himself. But instead, he found this girl across the street who was bringing him food because he was living in an abandoned house. Okay, and they ended up falling in love. He baked her some cookies. Okay, and then while he was cream pieing her, her dad walked in and beat the shit out of him. Okay, that's what happened. Okay. So anyway, so she's remembering all this kind of stuff. Anyway, she goes to visit him at his restaurant, the #1 restaurant in Boston, no less. And of course, there was a magazine article that rated his restaurant #1. And when you actually read the article, they interviewed him in the article because he's the owner of the restaurant. And he said that he did it because of a girl that he knew when he was a teenager, and how her dad beat the shit out of him after he got busted cream pieing her. All right. Yeah, that was in the article too. So even his own successful restaurant is not due to his own efforts. It's due to her. You get it? Because she's the boss bitch. She's responsible for everything good in the world. Okay, all the bad things, it's the man's fault. But all the good things, that's because of her. Okay, that's how it works in these movies. Okay, so anyway, she goes to visit him there. He takes her to the emergency room. Okay, she was not raped. Okay, but right there where he's about to confess to her his love, his addiction to gay porn, all of a sudden the nurse comes in or the doctor comes in and tells her that she's pregnant. So now it's like, oh, okay, so he doesn't get to come out. Anyway, so now that this has happened, he's telling her don't go back to him. He's going to try to hit you again, that kind of thing. Well, she has no intention of going back to her husband after him biting her like that. Okay, he drives her back to his place, okay? And it turns out that he said earlier in the movie that he had a girlfriend named Cassie. Well, it turns out that was a lie. His only girlfriend, he's got 2 girlfriends. He's got this fucking thumb and this fucking thumb. Okay, and they both go up his ass every single night for the past 25 years. Why? Because he's been waiting. He's done absolutely nothing with his life. Okay, he has no wife, no ex-wife, no girlfriend, no kids. Okay, no friends, no buddies, no nothing. It's him, his thumbs, and his fucking gay porn sites. That's all he's been doing for the past 25 years, hoping, wishing, and praying that some girl whose dad beat the shit out of him 25 years ago in a different state, okay, because right now they're in Boston, Massachusetts, and all that shit happened as a teenager. All that happened in Plethora, Maine. Okay, so some girl that he cream pied and a dad caught him and beat the shit out of him 25 fucking years ago. He's been waiting for her to someday walk back into his life because he's got absolutely nothing fucking going on. Okay, so of course there is no woman, there is no wife, there is no kids, there is no nothing. Okay, for him, not even a boyfriend that lives with him. Okay, he comes home to a fucking empty fucking bachelor pad. Okay. He drives her back to his place. Turns out there is no Cassie. That was a lie he made up to cover up the fact that he's a closeted homosexual. Okay, and he does have clothes though for her. Okay, for her to wear. Okay, and then he pulls them out of his transgender dresser that he has. Okay, and he says they're a bit stretched out, and he leaves it there. So I wonder why those female clothes are stretched out. Okay, I guess that's going to be in the sequel. All right. Okay. But then he tells her, he's like, yeah, okay, so these female clothes are a little bit stretched out, but I mean, what do you want for nothing? You know what I mean? Makes sense. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's something about how he lives with his dad. Yeah, my dad won't even know they're gone. He says that. Why does he fucking? At first, when I heard that line, what the fuck? He lives with his father? Like, what the fuck? I thought he didn't even know who his father was. Remember, his mom just had a whole list of boyfriends that beat the shit out of her. So who the fuck is his father? And then all of a sudden it got me. It's okay. Earlier in the movie, when he was a teenager, remember I told you he was homeless, living in that abandoned building across the street from the mayor of the city? Okay, well, he had no spare clothes. Okay, so Lily, when she was young, when she was 15, besides giving him the cheeks, she was also going through her dad's clothes and giving him her dad's clothes, and her dad never noticed it. Okay, so he was wearing Lily's father's clothes because he didn't have any spare clothes. Okay, and she said to him, "My dad won't even know it's missing." So now the tables are turned. Now she's the one that needs a place to shack up. She's the one that needs to get cream pied. Okay? And he lets her stay at his place. He says, "Hey, my dad won't even know these dresses are missing." Get it? Like that, okay? So anyway, so that's going on here. Okay? And then he tells her that she can have the fucking bedroom and he's going to sleep in his own couch. He's going to sleep in the couch. Okay? Why is he doing that? Probably because there's too many cum stains on his bed. Maybe it's disgusting. I don't know. But he lets Lily stay on his bed, and he stays in the couch of his own fucking house. Okay? I guess this chivalry is something, I guess you could say that. Okay? Anyway, next scene is in the shower. Okay? In the shower, Lily, she's dealing with a lot. Okay? Her husband attacked her. He's been attacking her for a while now, and she just now realized it. He bit her. Okay? Which is a bad thing to do. The human mouth has a lot more germs than a fucking dog does. Okay? A human bite is worse than a dog bite. All right. So she's in the shower and she receives she receives the marriage, childhood, and rape. Okay, and starts she relives it in her mind. Okay, her marriage, her childhood, watching her dad beat the shit out of her mom. She remembers the rape that just happened the other day. Okay, and she starts crying in front of the mirror. Now I gotta tell you, about 20% of this movie is just Blake Lively staring at herself in the fucking mirror. Okay, saying nothing, just. Now imagine that for fucking 20 minutes, because that's the runtime in this movie of her just staring in the fucking mirror. Okay, she spends half the fucking movie living in the fucking mirror, looking in the fucking mirror. Okay, and she ignores Ryle's blowing up her phone. He's texting her and all this stuff, emailing her, and she's refusing to answer. She's blowing him off. Okay, rightfully so. I mean, like I said, Ryle's an asshole. I don't agree with anything that he did. Okay, he's a failure as a man and as a husband. Okay, she ignores Ryle's text. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Lumber Sexual Atlas himself shows up with DoorDash. Despite the fact that he's a professional chef and he owns his own fucking restaurant, he still uses DoorDash. Why? Probably because their food is better than his. Okay, and he opens a collar. Okay, he walks in there. Okay, trying to look all hot. Okay, so he's got this open collar which goes down to his fucking navel. Okay, he's like, "Hey, brought some DoorDash for us." See? Brought some DoorDash. Where should I put it? Like that, okay? He's doing that whole fucking shit, right? Mr. fucking lumbersexual himself. Okay? And, open collar. Okay, no undershirt, of course. You can't wear a white shirt underneath. Okay, but the camera doesn't frame into his armpits, which must be fucking soaked with sweat since he's not wearing a fucking undershirt. But, the movie's not going to go realistic like that. Okay? Like I said, no sweat stain armpits. Okay, and they sit on the couch. They sit on the couch and they talk about their favorite fucking Taylor Swift songs. Okay? And then he reassures her again that she's okay, that she's good enough, she's smart enough, and god darn it, people like her. Okay? And she's worried about taking care of a baby now. Now she's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of a baby? Oh my God. Okay? See, she's a victim now. So now the movie went from her being a boss bitch, a strong, successful, independent woman that don't need no man. She never needed Ryle. The movie was very clear on that point that she never needed to date him. Okay? She was never attached to him in any way. Okay, she could take him or leave him. Okay, she never found him that attractive. She was never into him. She was never in love with him. The only thing that she ever really seemed to love, okay, was her fucking flower shop. and her dreams of being a boss bitch, okay, owning her own business, opening up her own store, okay, and maybe she loved Atlas, okay, but despite the fact that that Ra pursued her to no end, she never reciprocated the affection that he gave her, okay. So she's been the boss bitch in charge of the relationship this entire time, okay, but now she's the victim. Now she's like, oh, feel sorry for me. How could this happen? Boo! Right? So she's a victim now. Atlas tells her that he went to the abandoned building across from her house one day. He told her that the reason that he was living in that abandoned building across from her house back when she was 15 years old, and they lived in Plethora, Maine, was he went to that abandoned building to kill himself. Yeah. He went there to kill himself. He admits this to her. He's like, the reason, I was in that abandoned building was that I went there to kill myself, Lily. Okay, but one night when I was peeping Tomming at you, getting undressed, okay, before I got addicted to gay porn, I realized that I couldn't go through with it. I just couldn't. And then Atlas says, like, and the next day you brought me food? You fed me? And you saved me. Yeah, just like that, okay? Very masculine, especially with the beard and all, Anyway, so we get about 15 minutes of this, okay, of this simp pussy eating, okay? And then he goes on to some fucking monologue about, about fucking, do you decide to keep it, a boss bitch, you're an amazing person, you're a lifesaver, the men ain't shit, baby is so lucky to have you, you got this, don't need no man, yeah, that kind of, the usual fucking feminist talking points. All right. Then he drives her back to her house, okay? Now, you realize I've been saying that he drives her, okay? He drove her to the hospital, he drove her back to his place, and now he's going to drive her back to her house, okay? Well, how is he doing this, right? Where is her car? Well, it is her car. He drove her back to her house so that he could walk back to his house. Or Uber it. I don't fucking know. We don't see him getting an Uber, okay? We just see him starting to walk away after he drops her off in her own car. Anyway, he brings her back to her house, okay? And he stands in front of her on the middle of the street, okay, in silence. And this goes on for like 2 hours, okay? And then he hugs her. And then while he's hugging her, he whispers something into her ear. He says, if you ever decide to fall in love again, just fall in love with me, okay? You know where to find me. If I'm not at the restaurant, I'll be at the gay bar. Okay, and then he walks away. Okay? Now he has to walk home. Or take a fucking Uber or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, he says that to her. Why does he need her to fall in love with him? Because he hasn't moved on with his life. He hasn't done a goddamn thing. He's opened up this restaurant and that's it. Other than that, he's still stuck at being 18 years old. He's still in love with a girl from fucking 25 years ago. Okay? He has never moved past that. He's never met anyone else. He's never fallen in love with anyone else. Okay? He's never had children. He's never been married. He's not even divorced. Okay? He has nothing. His personal life is shit. It's nothing. It's all dependent on whether or not Lily's available or whether or not she'll walk into his restaurant someday. Okay, this is completely unrealistic, okay? And the reason I say that is because the character, if he was an average guy, okay, or a beta male or something, I could understand him being lonely. A lot of guys like that are lonely. They would rather watch porn than date a woman because that's scary. It costs money. They know they don't look that handsome. They know they don't have that much money. Okay, so they know they're probably going to get shot down. And rather than their self-esteem, which is already low, getting even worse, okay, they'd rather just be alone and not date anybody. So that part is realistic. There's lots of guys like that. Too many, in my opinion. Okay, thanks to social media and thanks to dating apps, it's more about what you look like at first. Okay, it didn't used to be that way. Okay, so I could understand that if he was a low-value beta male. Okay, but he's not. He's playing a guy who owns the hottest, most successful restaurant in Boston. Okay, and he's a bachelor. Okay, you remember that fucking show about the chef that came out like 20-something years ago? His name was, I don't remember it, but his name was Rocco or something. He became like this big sex symbol because he was a chef and he had a reality show about his restaurant, okay? And all the women were all creaming over this guy. He was publishing books with recipes in it. And like I said, he had a reality show, okay? Back when reality shows were kind of new back then. They were nuanced back then, okay? Like in the early 2000s and stuff, okay? I mean, and that guy, and his restaurant wasn't even the hottest restaurant in New York. Okay, but he was a young guy. He opened up his own restaurant, okay, in downtown New York. So of course he became the stud now. Okay, that's what this guy should be doing. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the stud who owns this beautiful, delicious restaurant. Okay, he's very incognito, which means that he likes to disguise himself as a fucking waiter. Okay, not just look like a waiter, but actually take orders in his own restaurant, bring drinks, bring appetizers, bring food. Go into the ladies' room. He likes to do all that stuff that all the waiters do, okay? Despite the fact that he's a fucking owner of the restaurant, okay? So this guy should be like one of the most #1 eligible bachelors in Boston, okay? He should be fucking have pussy fighting for him, okay? But he doesn't. He doesn't. He has nobody. He had to fucking invent a fake girlfriend just to make Lily think that he actually had a life. You see what I mean? He has nothing. He has nobody, okay? So how the fuck can a guy like that be high value? Okay, but he's got nobody. No, that's bullshit. A guy like this will be swimming in pussy. He'd either be married, he'd have children, or he'd be on his second wife or his third wife or something like that. Okay, or he'd just be dating a bunch of fucking girls, fucking his waitresses, his bartenders, doing all that kind of stuff that normal business owners do. Okay, but he's not doing any of those things. Okay? He's not doing any of those things. So either he's fucking gay, which is what I think it is, okay, or he's a fucking incel. He doesn't get laid because he can't. You see what I mean? Either way, it's pretty fucking pathetic. It's pretty fucking pathetic. Because he looks like an alpha male. He looks like a successful top 0.001% of the men that all women want to be with. But he doesn't act like it. And neither does Ryle. So you got these two guys who are supposed to be high value men. I mean, Ryle's a fucking a successful neurosurgeon. Okay? And Atlas is a successful restaurant owner. But neither one of them can get fucking laid. How is this possible? How is this possible? This makes no fucking sense. Who wrote this shit? Anyway, so that's going on. He walks back home. The next scene, Lily has a meeting with Alyssa, okay, her sister-in-law, played by butt ugly Jenny Slate, and she confirms how afraid Ryle has been to open his heart, okay, and dying inside until he met Lily, okay, that he never saw her brother, Ryle, okay, ever get excited or passionate about anything until he met you. Once again, more fucking pussy eating. Why don't you just eat her pussy, you ugly bitch? Okay, because that's all you're doing here. Everybody in this fucking movie keeps affirming how great Lily is, how wonderful she is, how beautiful she is, how strong she is, how successful she is, how independent she is, how lucky she is, how strong, independent, don't need no man she is, okay? Everyone in this fucking movie does that. I'm getting fucking sick and tired of it, okay? Quit fucking telling me. This is a case of show and tell. You're telling me everything, you're showing me nothing. There's nothing spectacular about Lily Bloom, okay? Lily Blossom Bloom. She's just another fucking bitch, another fucking hoe, a thought. That's all she is. Concerned with herself, doesn't give a shit about anybody but herself, okay? And that's it. That's who she is. Nothing special. She's not even super attractive, okay? Both of these guys can do better than her. But the reason she's not super attractive in this movie is, first of all, because, she just had fucking 4 kids in real life, Blake Lively did, and she looks it, okay? She's also in her late 30s. She's not the fucking young, hottie gossip girl anymore, okay? And because it makes women feel better about themselves if they don't feel intimidated by the main character. Okay, that's why. Women want the hot guy. They want the guy that's a 10, okay? But we can't have a girl that's a 10 too, because that would make them feel bad about themselves. So they got to make her like a 7, a 6, or something like that, because that's what most women are. You see what I mean? That way they don't fucking, feel intimidated by her. You see what I mean? So that's why they do it. Okay, this is bullshit. It's just like porn. Okay? A guy, an average-looking guy comes home, and all of a sudden his mom, his stepmom, his aunt, they all want to fuck him. Okay, that's porn. That's not realistic either. Okay? But, that's why it's a fantasy. It's not real. Okay, this movie tries to pass stuff off as realistic. It actually has a social message to tell you. You need to watch this or else guys are going to start beating up their wives. You see what I mean? And it's not. This is bullshit. Anyway. So Alyssa is shocked that her brother beat the shit out of her best friend, Lily. Okay, she's like, I never thought my brother was capable of this. You know? Well, you've known your brother your whole fucking life. Okay? And then we get a revelation here, okay? Now, earlier in the movie, she did mention that there was a third sibling, okay? So Ryle and Alyssa are brother and sister, but they did have an older brother, okay? His name was Emerson, and he died when they were kids. Well, we find out now why. Now this whole situation was kind of like, it kind of put off Ryle. Like, Ryle didn't want to talk about it. He kind of avoided it, you know? He never mentioned it again, okay? But it turns out that Ryle and Emerson, when they were little kids, they found their dad's gun. And they were playing with it, and Emerson died. Now, earlier in the movie, in the beginning of the movie, right after the funeral scene, when Lily comes back to Boston, she breaks into a condo, a luxury condo, and goes all the way to the roof of the building. Okay, no security, no fob, okay, no parking permit, no nothing, right? She just walks into a building, a luxury apartment building, goes to the top floor, completely unstopped. Okay, no concierge, no security, nothing, right? Makes it to the roof and starts sitting over the edge of the roof so that she can think. Okay, and then while she's doing that, okay, Ryle, she's introduced to Ryle. He comes up there all angry, smashes some furniture, patio furniture and shit, and she learns that he is a neurosurgeon, and the reason he's upset is because he lost a patient. Okay, apparently it was a little boy who got shot in the head who was playing with a gun with his brother. Okay, he accidentally got shot in the head. Ryle tried to save this little boy's life, but the boy didn't make it. Okay, so that's why he was super upset. That's why he was mad on the roof. That's why he threw the patio furniture and shit. Okay, that's why. Okay, and Lily in the beginning of the movie, she asked Ryle, okay, like, oh, what do you think something like that does to a kid? And he says, it's gonna ruin him for the rest of his life. Just like that. Well, now we know why he said that. Because that's what he did. He killed his brother with a gun by accident. And he's been living with that his whole life. That explains why he beats the shit out of women. It's because he never dealt with that trauma. Okay? He did become a successful neurosurgeon, though. And by successful, I mean his patients die on him. But hey, at least he graduated the school, right? Okay, anyway. So, yeah. So apparently that's what happened, okay? Ryle was 6 years old. He thought it was a toy. He thought the gun was a toy. Well, why the fuck would you leave a fucking loaded gun unattended where a fucking 6-year-old could get in there and take it? That makes no fucking sense, dude. Okay, anyway, your dad should be in jail. Okay, anyway, he's never been the same since. That's what Alyssa does. He's never been the same since. Okay, and she says that I used to love flowers. You know, I used to love flowers before that because there was a lot of flowers at the funeral for his brother. Now, earlier in the movie, when Alyssa first meets Lily, she goes into her store when she's trying to clean it up and get it ready to open, asks for a job, and she tells Lily, you know, I hate flowers. Okay, but we never find out why. Now we know why, because when she was a little girl, she went to her brother's funeral, and there was lots of flowers there. So now she associates flowers with her dead older brother. Okay, and that's why she hates flowers. Okay, despite the fact that she loves working in a flower shop now. Okay, anyway, so that's going on here. Okay, and she tells Lily, as your sister-in-law, I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive him. But as your best friend, if you take him back, I will never speak to you again. Get it? Get the message here? Okay. Chicks before dicks, right? Yeah, pretty much. That's the same thing as Sex in the City. Same all the fucking bullshit. That's another bullshit show. I know. I reviewed every episode. It's on this channel. Sex in the City, sluts in the city. Okay, and they're not even that attractive. Anyway, okay, so we get a montage now. Okay, of a pregnant Lily, because like I said, she's pregnant, walking and working and walking and ignoring Ryle's text messages and walking some more. Her mom tries to help her build a crib, but her mom fucks it up. So Lily tells her mom to get fucking lost. Okay, she asks why. Lily does ask her mom, why did you stay with Dad? Remember when I was a teenager and he used to beat the shit out of you all the time and I would watch him do it? How come you never left him? How come you stayed with him? Okay, why didn't you just leave him? Why did you do that, Mom? You know, and she says, and her mom, Jenny is her name, says, you know what? It would have been harder for me to leave him. And because I loved him. And Lily says, yeah, I did too. But I still think you're a piece of shit for not leaving. You should have been a strong, independent woman. Like me. Okay? You know, and what really pisses me off is that she also tells her mom that, yeah, I love Dad too. No, you fucking didn't. You wouldn't even fucking speak at his funeral. You fucking hated your father. Okay, despite the fact, yes, he had his shortcomings, most definitely so. He never should have put his hands on your mom. Okay, I will never fucking accept that. I will never find that a good thing. Okay, he definitely had his shortcomings. Absolutely, okay? But he did love you. He never beat the shit out of you. He provided you with a roof over your fucking head. He provided you with clothes, with toys, with a beautiful room. Okay? He took care of your ass. He never treated you like shit. Okay? I mean, he beat the shit out of the adult boy that you kept sneaking into his house. The fuck? He beat the shit out of that boy. Yes, he most clearly fucking did. And I would have done the same fucking thing too. Okay? But he did have some sort of love for you. And the reason he did it was to protect you. You know? You know what? I'm making way too much. How the fuck am I going to convince a liberal of this shit? I'm making way too much sense. Sorry. I mean, I must be speaking a different language from them. Okay, from the libtards that made this movie. Anyway, so that's going on. They'll never understand. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, and then the next scene here is the sonogram. Okay, they do a sonogram. And by the way, Justin Baldoni's real life wife, her name is Emily Baldoni. His real life wife plays the doctor here. Okay, the pediatrician here. Okay, and it's a sonogram, and she tells she asks Lily, "Do you want to know if it's a boy or a girl?" And Lily says like, yes, I want to know. And it's like, well, it turns out it's a girl. Of course it's a girl. We need more boss bitches. We need more girls in STEM. Right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Boss bitches and girls in STEM. So of course it's a girl. Of course. Boys are all pieces of shit. Don't you know that by now? Anyway, okay, so she's going to have a girl. All right, I'm going to stop my review right here, but I'll be back shortly to continue my review of It Ends With This. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.